Hiker serial killer, Friday's emotional memorial service for slain college student Meredith Emerson was a grim reminder of the gruesome murder committed by a sick drifter roaming the North Georgia woods. Now, less than a week after Gary Michael Hilton led Georgia investigators to the body of the missing hiker, cops in 2 other states have named Hilton the prime suspect in at least 3 other unsolved murders. Here's Brother Craig.
You could scream out as loud as you want here, and no one's going to hear you.
No, it's so desolate and remote that there's no homes anywhere close to this area, so you can scream out, no one will ever hear you.
According to Dawson County Sheriff Billy Carlisle, Meredith Emerson's remains were found here in the Dawson Forest, a 24,000-acre reserve 60 miles from where she was snatched on January 1st.
He encountered her on Blood Mountain up in Union County. He probably kept her in the van with him. We think that she was actually killed here in the Forest Mansion area on January the 4th.
So he brought her here, murdered her on the scene, and left her.
Without going into any details of what we found in the crime scene, that's probably what happened.
According to the sheriff, the creepy drifter charged with the horrendous murder of the pretty college student may have killed before.
Meredith Emerson's murder has also generated a lot of interest in other police departments in different states. Why is that?
I think it's because of the similarity of her murder. Other states, jurisdictions of other states have called us, emailed us, wanting information on this case because it's so similar to the cases that they've got in theirs where the hikers have just vanished.
Hilton is being investigated in 5 cases, 2 in Georgia, 1 in North Carolina, and 2 in Florida. Like Meredith, victims in 3 of the other cases were also decapitated. Florida officials say they have enough evidence to charge Hilton with the murder of 46-year-old Cheryl Hodges Dunlap, whose body was found in Apalachicola National Forest. Major Mike Wood, Leon County Sheriff's Office.
As a result of our investigation, we have confirmed that Gary Michael Hilton was in fact in Leon County during the time span of Ms. Cheryl Dunlap's disappearance. He is the primary focus of our investigation.
Across Florida, in Ormond Beach, local cops investigating the murder of Michael Scott Lewis, 27, also met with Georgia authorities. Also decapitated, Michael's scattered remains were found December 6th near Tomoka State Park. And North Carolina authorities have named Hilton as a suspect in the October disappearance of John and Irene Bryant. The couple, both in their 80s, were attacked in the Pisgah National Forest. Irene's body has been found, but her husband is still missing.
So there's a very good possibility that Gary Hilton is a serial killer.
It is a possibility. I'm not saying that, but if these other states do, and the jurisdictions come up with enough evidence to show that he had part of their missing hikers, then it's very possible he could be a serial killer.
We're joined now by Brother Craig on location down there in Georgia. You know, bro, first of all, are we sure that he kept her alive in the vehicle, and do they have any idea, if so, why?
Well, this is what the sheriff believes. He believes that she was alive when she was parked in his vehicle outside the Huddle House Restaurant where I am right now in Pickens County, Georgia. We're just about 10 miles from where Gary Hilton is being held in the sheriff's brand new jail there. All evidence points to the fact that she was alive and that she was in the parking lot of this restaurant just an hour before Hilton's picture was displayed on camera and he was finally turned in.
Okay, we'll be right back. Stand by, Craig, and we'll have some friends of Hilton after this. Continuing now in this investigation of Gary Hilton, who is suspected now, who confessed to the murder of Meredith Emerson, who is now suspected in 4 other cases. We've heard from Craig's report on the scene at the Huddle House Restaurant, where ironically the perpetrator was dining when he had the poor girl alive in the trunk of his vehicle in the parking lot. Joining me now, Fox News contributor, famed forensic pathologist Michael Bodden rejoins me, as does former detective Mark Furman. but also joining us, the owner and the waitress who met Gary Michael Hilton, this accused or suspected serial killer, just hours before his photograph was released to the public. Meredith Emerson, again, still alive in the trunk of his vehicle outside Jim Barkley's restaurant. Jeanette Walker, the waitress, they joined Craig there. I just can't imagine, Jim Barkley, how frustrating it must be for you that the information that could have saved her life came to you so soon after this creep was in your restaurant.
That's the single biggest, saddest part of this whole story, is that we were an hour and a half away from knowing who he was, what he looked like, and quite possibly we might have been able to do something to save her life.
And Jeanette, how did he behave, Gary Hilton? Do you remember?
Yeah, he was a little shaky, like he was hiding or something. I mean, he was scary like.
I bet he was scary. I just back to you, Jim. What was your reaction, or did you speak to Jeanette as soon as you saw the photograph? Whether the media broadcast, I'm not exactly sure how you did see it. What was your reaction to each other? Did you slap yourself in the forehead and say, "Oh my God, that's the guy that was just here"?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. And when the GBI called us to come back to the restaurant approximately 3 hours after he left, they showed us pictures, and then they asked if we had him on our surveillance tapes, which we did. And at that point in time, my heart just sunk.
Mark Furman, why, in your experience, do these sick fiends cut the heads off their victims?
I can't address that in my experience, but with the age of DNA, it's certainly not identification. So I would have to conclude that is simply his M.O., his perverse pleasure at doing so, the ultimate power over the victim after death or at the time of death. It's almost such an abstract question that I can only give you an abstract answer.
It's interesting. I agree very much with what Mark says. To dismember the whole body, head, arms, and legs, is to be able to get rid of the body in little packages without people seeing it. Just to cut off the head, in my experience, has been for shock value, to shock people. It's difficult to cut through the head. This woman was killed by multiple blunt force objects. You're not killed by this decapitation, and it's just a shocking thing for people who find the body.
If he uses the same knife or just the same thrust, can they identify him,
yes,
make him to these other cases?
Yes, that's what tool mark evidence. They got to cut through his spine bone, his cervical spine bone, and the nature of the tool gives you tool mark evidence that can match different decapitations.
More people had an encounter with this killer after this.
Where the news is.
Back to the case of Gary Hilton, the suspected serial killer who confessed to killing 24-year-old Meredith Emerson in the woods of North Georgia last week. In Atlanta right now, we're joined by John Tabor. Tabor was friends with Gary Michael Hilton. Actually, John employed Hilton at his contracting company. Now, John, you played some role in contacting the police, did you not, in providing them with some information with Hilton's picture and the vehicle he was driving?
I'm the person, yes, who did first identify him to the authorities.
How was he when he worked with you? Was he a weirdo? Did you seem creeped out by him?
No, not for the most part. I had known him for almost 10 years, and during that period of time, he never really seemed to cause any problems.
Did he have unexpected absences, John?
Well, yes, he did, but they weren't necessarily unexpected. He was an outdoorsman. He loved to go out into the woods, and he wouldn't hang around in any one place for too long without going and spending a few weeks or longer up in the woods, and particularly in North Georgia and into the Carolinas.
John, we're looking at his trail of terror beginning in December of 2005 and going on through Meredith and then this other fellow, Michael Lewis, but going from basically 2005 to 2008. Were you shocked when you realized that the authorities believed him to be the suspected serial killer?
I was shocked. However, he actually threatened my life at the end of past summer.
What did he say?
He demanded $10,000 from me.
For what?
He didn't really give a reason why, but
for what?
He let me know in no uncertain terms that if I didn't give him the money, he would kill me.
Robin McKinney is with Brother Craig at the Huddle House Restaurant, again, where Meredith Emerson sadly was in the trunk of the vehicle alive and could possibly have been saved if the notification had come just a couple of hours earlier. Now, Robin McKinney, Gary Hilton worked for you also. Did he, what was your reaction to him?
Well, actually, he didn't work for me. He worked for Mr. Tabor on my job.
Oh, so Tabor was the contractor. Hilton worked for him. What kind of job did they do?
They did a lousy job. We had to have all the work redone.
So they botched the job, essentially.
That's right.
Did Hilton make you feel uncomfortable when you were around him?
He very much made me feel uncomfortable.
In what way?
And I I was complaining about the way things were being done, and he was not at all happy about the fact I was complaining about him and complaining to his boss.
So you were not surprised then, Robin, when he was arrested?
No. I actually never knew that his name was Gary Michael Hilton. I knew him as Mac.
Mac. Craig, is there any suspicion that he's guilty of any other crimes around there?
Geraldo, in fact, some locals did tell me about an unsolved murder that occurred 10 years ago of an 11-year-old boy whose body was found in Dawson Forest, same place where the victim in this case was found.
Was he also beheaded?
With the body also beheaded, also decapitated.
Creepy. Craig, thanks. I got to go ahead of time. We'll be right back, folks, after this. Please stand by.